He was born a billionaire's son, educated, and once welcomed as an ally by the West. So, how did Osama bin Laden become the face of global terrorism and change world history forever? Osama bin Laden's story isn't just about one man. It's about ideology, war, unintended consequences, and how modern extremism was built. Let's start at the beginning. First, the background no one expects. Osama bin Laden was born in 1957 in Saudi Arabia into immense wealth. His father ran one of the largest construction companies in the kingdom, closely tied to the royal family. Bin Laden grew up privileged, educated, and deeply religious. He studied economics and engineering. Nothing in his early life suggested he would become the world's most wanted man. The turning point came in 1979. The Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. For many in the Muslim world, this was seen as a foreign occupation. Bin Laden joined the Afghan jihad, not as a frontline fighter at first, but as a financier and organizer. He used family money to fund roads, camps, and supply networks for fighters resisting the Soviets. And here's the critical detail. The United States supported this resistance, seeing it as a Cold War battlefield against the USSR. Money and weapons flowed into the region, radical networks expanded, and, well, learned how to operate. The Soviets eventually withdrew in 1989, but the fighters didn't disappear. Now the ideology, hardens. After the war, bin Laden believed he had helped defeat a superpower through faith and violence. That belief became central to his worldview. When United States troops were stationed in Saudi Arabia during the Gulf War in 1990, bin Laden saw it as a betrayal. Foreign soldiers on Islam's holiest land. He openly criticized the Saudi government. The response was swift. He was stripped of influence, then citizenship. He went into exile, first Sudan, then back to Afghanistan, where the Taliban offered protection. This is where al-Qaeda took shape. Al-Qaeda wasn't just a group, it was a network, designed to train, fund, and inspire attacks globally. Bin Laden believed attacking the far enemy, especially the United States, would weaken governments in the Middle East he viewed as corrupt. That strategy would soon become brutally clear. Then come the attacks that changed everything. Before 9/11, al-Qaeda tested its reach. In 1998, United States embassies in Kenya and Tanzania were bombed, killing over 200 people. Then, in the year 2000, the USS Cole was attacked in Yemen, resulting in the deaths of 17 American sailors. These were warnings. On September 11, 2001, al-Qaeda hijackers carried out coordinated attacks in New York and Washington, killing nearly 3,000 people. It was honestly the deadliest terrorist attack in modern history. The consequences were immediate and global. The United States launched the war on terror. Afghanistan was invaded. Al-Qaeda training camps were destroyed. Bin Laden went into hiding. But the world had already changed. Airport security, surveillance laws, military interventions, and global counter-terrorism efforts all trace back to that single day. Now, the hunt. For nearly a decade, bin Laden evaded capture. He moved rarely, avoided phones, and relied on trusted couriers. Ironically, it was old-fashioned intelligence, tracking human messengers, that led to him. In 2011, US forces located bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan, living quietly in a compound not far from a military academy. On May 2, 2011, US Navy SEALs killed him during a nighttime raid. His death closed one chapter, but not the story. So what did bin Laden actually achieve? Strategically, al-Qaeda failed. The United States didn't retreat from global influence. Instead, extremist violence, destabilized regions bin Laden claimed to defend, Muslim civilians actually made up the majority of victims of jihadist attacks. And yet, his impact was enormous. He reshaped global security policy. He inspired copycat groups. He proved that non-state actors could strike powerful nations. That lesson honestly still defines modern conflicts. Why this history still matters. Understanding Osama bin Laden isn't about fascination, it's about prevention. His rise shows how war, ideology, political repression, and foreign intervention can, combine to produce radicalization. So, it shows how extremist narratives exploit real grievances and, turn them toward mass violence. It also reminds us that terrorism doesn't emerge in isolation. It grows in power vacuums, prolonged wars, and places where, honestly, simplistic answers feel comforting in a chaotic world. Bin Laden is dead. But the systems, ideas, and mistakes that allowed him to rise are still with us. If this video helped you understand one of the most important figures in modern history, hit like, it really helps. Subscribe for more clear, serious breakdowns of world-changing events. And, watch our next video on how the war on terror reshaped the Middle East and why its effects are still unfolding today.